Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Patty Giarrusso, and this is Let's Talk Pets on Society Bites Radio. Today, we welcome to the show Lisa Fowler from Good Old Doggie, and we're going to talk about senior pups today. Lisa and her husband, Patrick, have a special place in their hearts for senior dogs. They have been rescuing senior dogs for years, and after losing their English Springer Spaniel Teagan, their mission began. It occurred to them to contact a dog rescue association to save another life after they lost Teagan. And in the process of rescuing another dog, they ended up adopting a senior pup. Angelle, I believe is the name, but I might have to clear that up, and thus began their love and mission of helping senior dogs. GoodOldDoggie.com is Lisa's new undertaking, where she helps others usher their precious pups into their senior years. Along their journeys, she and Patrick have found products and tips to help keep senior dogs comfortable and to make caring for them easier. Lisa's goal is to share their successful experiences with you so that you and your dog can navigate this journey with ease, to provide everything you'll need for a happy, healthy, and confident senior dog. They will not only thank you for it, but love you because of it. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Hi, Patty. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Yeah, so we just taught, or I just explained a little bit about how you got involved with senior dogs because it sounded like it came about kind of unexpectedly. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, our first Springer, yes, as you mentioned, we lost her. And then the next one, I think we're three Springers from then.
Oh, wow.
That one was Sarah, and she was about 12. We don't know exactly how old she was. And then came Sadie, and most recently Angel, whom we lost just 2 weeks ago. But Angel lived the longest, and she was almost 15. And like us, things started deteriorating when we get to a certain age. And I found myself having to learn about ways to care for her, make her comfortable, and I've learned a lot. And so I thought, you know what? I need to share this with people. I need to share these solutions with people who may have never faced this before, or maybe even have. But I just know that it took me a while to figure things out. So I thought I'd provide a shortcut for other dog lovers.
Right. So that's how I came to get in touch with you because I saw on the Facebook that you were starting this mission of kindness, I guess, if there's no lack of better word for it,
Oh, thank you.
because, a lot of people have it in their heart to save senior dogs, but they're just not sure what to do sometimes and how to care for them if they're just learning about them or wanting to help them. So maybe you could talk about some of the things that people could do if they're considering, helping and adopting a senior pet or dog, I should say.
Well, yeah, of course. And as we know, most people or many people tend to buy or adopt puppies. And who doesn't love puppies? They're adorable, but they can be a lot of work, especially for an older person. And we tend to adopt older dogs because, in general, they're less likely to be adopted. And as we had discussed earlier, it's really important to give them a fresh start if they've come from a bad situation. And it's so rewarding to see the transformation in their personalities. But also, as you had mentioned earlier, there are there are dogs that have come from a good home, but their owner can't take care of them for whatever reason, for health or they've passed on. And that's also a joy for us and for them to continue caring for these creatures. One thing that I need to stress is when you adopt a dog, and probably any age dog, is it's important to take your new dog to your vet as soon as possible, regardless of what you're told about their current condition of health. And I say this because that first old girl we adopted, we were told she had tested negatively for heartworm, and then we learned too late that she had serious heart damage, and we lost her just 15 months later.
Mm.
She's one of those. She came from a bad situation and was shy and afraid, but within a few days, in fact, she turned into a different person. So
Mm.
at least she crossed the bridge, a happy dog that that felt safe and loved. So, we learned from that, and every single dog we adopt, again, no matter what age, but particularly the older ones, it's important to just not take what you're told at face value, and make sure the very first thing you do is get your dog to the vet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I have heard of people adopting, older dogs, and perhaps from a rescue, and they're told, oh, this dog may be 8 years old. But if you go from one vet to the next, it's pretty much impossible to give an absolute on a dog based only on their teeth when you know really nothing about them. So you always have to keep in mind with an older dog that you really never know how old it is, too. That's, I had one woman complain to me in my neighborhood, oh, I adopted this dog. I was told it was 5, and my vet said it was, 10. But I mean,
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, unfortunately, that happens a lot. With our latest rescue, Fancy, she's a Chihuahua. The opposite happened. They told us she was 8, which was quite fine with us. At the time, Angel was 8, so we thought, okay, great, we'll have 2 rescue dogs the same age. And she turned out to be 6, and that was a happy surprise. They got a little confused. Instead of telling us she was 6 pounds and 8 years, they told us she was 8 pounds and 6 years, or the opposite.
Right.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you've learned along the way? Because it sounds like you've had your share of senior dogs. I know from talking with another senior rescue that one of the things that I liked that they mentioned was that the good thing about adopting an older dog is they're generally already trained. They just want to relax and rest, and they're quiet, and they're like the perfect companion, unless of course they've come from some really bad situation and they've never been trained. But most of them that you hear of are from a situation like you mentioned, that maybe something has happened to their owner, and they just couldn't keep them anymore.
Yeah, and that is another plus when you get an older dog. The dog knows the ropes. Often it knows a lot of words, a lot of commands, and is comfortable in its own skin. And even the ones that are low key, sometimes they become a little frisky and playful. And you know what? I think it's like the same with people. It's all about feeling safe and loved and welcomed. So it's really, I can't even express how rewarding it is to adopt an older dog. And I guess if they could talk, they would say the same thing. They would say thank you.
Yeah. Now I know, one of the things that we had discussed when we talked on the phone was people are sometimes reluctant to adopt an older dog for fear of losing them too quickly. But that's one of the things that if you're going to commit to doing this, which is a really important thing to do, adopting a senior pet, is to understand that and somehow prepare and just know that, the grief is sometimes worth it, I guess, or however you could say it. I don't know. Maybe you could say it better than I'm trying to come up with the words.
Well, yeah, it's bittersweet, and you do have to be prepared for that. And like I said, our first old girl, lived for 15 months. And of course we were heartbroken when she died. But there was also the feeling that, wow, how she changed within a few days, and what a good life she had. And going for rides with her ears out the window and smiling and chasing lizards. When she came to us, she just barely moved.
Aww.
So those 15 months may have been the end of her life. But you know what? They were the best months of her life. And that's a really good feeling. And you have to hold on to that. Now, I'm not saying that any old dog you adopt is going to cross the rainbow bridge that quickly, because most of the time that's not the case. At least it hasn't been for us. But you're absolutely right. It's important to consider that possibility. Well, inevitability when you do adopt an older dog.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like how you put it that they do get the best years of their life when somebody's willing to give them a home and just, basically dote on them for those last, however long they have. And generally, I do believe the happier they are and the more love they get, the longer they'll be with you, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why we had Angel for so long. She was almost 15. And again, it was just 2 weeks ago that we lost her, so it's kind of still fresh. But that inspired some of the newer posts on the site. I shouldn't say newer. The site is new.
Yeah.
DOGGIE.com is very new, and we have a long way to go. But so far, people are responding very positively to what we're doing.
Yeah. So the ultimate goal of goodoldoggie.com is to just basically bring awareness to the how adopting a senior dog is so rewarding, and then just helping people understand different ways of what do I want to say, caring for them, or some of the things they may be up against. What was your plan when you started this?
Well, yes, what you said is true, but it's not just about adopting older dogs. Maybe you've had your dog since he or she was a pup, and now things have changed, and you're not quite sure how to deal with them. So it's for all people that have had their dogs, whether they're a newly adopted older dog or they've had their dog since he was a puppy, and now he's old. And what do I do? And how do I care for him? And what are the best supplements? And what are the questions I should ask my vet? And how do I know if my dog is in pain? Mm-hmm. So all of these things we're trying to address, again, because I went through this multiple times, but again, most recently with Angel. So I just thought people need to know these things. They need a shortcut, just quick answers. And in fact, I'm hoping to bring our favorite vet and vet tech onto the team to answer questions of our readers. I can't mention their names because I haven't discussed it with them yet.
But that brings up a question for me that how does someone go about finding, like doctors, of course, for humans, they all have their specialties. How would somebody go about finding the best vet for a senior dog, or just continuing with your own vet because you're comfortable with them? Is probably what most people would do. But if somebody was new to it and had just adopted, what would you suggest they might consider when trying to find a new vet?
Well, so yes, you're right. Many people are comfortable with their vet, and your vet typically will know you better, maybe even than you know yourself when it comes to you and your pets. So your own vet is always a trusted source. If you're looking for a new vet, that's a really good question. My best friend is Google. So that's where I would start. Or I would just put it out there, ask friends and people that you trust for recommendations.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't really see like geriatric vets, being,
it's true.
Something like that as being something advertised. But I'm sure there are vets that do specialize. Of course, where we are, there's Vintage Paws is a local senior rescue, and I would assume that they